I'm gonna be trying out Cosmic Brushes eyeshadow palettes for the first time. I have here in front of me the NudeTrals and the CoolTrals palette. I'm gonna be showing you swatches with each of them. I'm also gonna be doing a look with each of them, and then I will share with you my first impression thoughts. So let's get into it. Alright, so these palettes are so up my alley. I love neutrals with a twist. First up, we have the NudeTrals palette in this collection. It's a little bit more warm leaning. It feels a little bit more summery. I really, by the way, like the packaging that they have. This is very nice cardboard. It feels nice and smooth. It's not too big. I was scared that with the amount of shades that these have, that this was going to be a pretty big palette, but it's actually not the case. But we do have a lot of shades inside. I have to say this NudeTrals palette is not as warm as I was expecting. Like, I was thinking warm. I was thinking desert, gold tones, but that's kind of like the vibe the packaging gives me. But if you kind of take away this row with the mustards, it's pretty like neutral leaning. And I actually already did a look with this, which leaned pretty cool tones. So I feel like if you're not into like super warm tones, there's a lot you can do with this. I really love this color story. I really love kind of like neutral shades, but with multi-chromes, with duochromes, with sparkly shades, and that's what you get with this one. I think this looks really, really beautiful, and this just gets me very excited. Then we also have, of course, the CoolTrals palette. This is the more cool tone palette, a little bit less neutral, more kind of like, okay, mauve shades. It's a little neutral in that sense, but a lot of blues. The blues in here are a little bit on the softer side. They are a little bit more on the muted side, but this is definitely a more out there palette than the NudeTrals. I also feel like they were kind of going for a neutral palette and then a cool palette, but not exactly a neutral cool palette. Like, I find it a very interesting collection, a very interesting choice. This also gets me very excited. If I wear blue, it's often a little bit more of a muted soft blue like this. I feel like there are so many beautiful tones in this. There are so many shades in this, and everything swatched beautifully. And I just feel like these palettes, like, they're still gonna be easy to store, easy to use. We're just gonna go into the first look with the NudeTrals palette. Alright, time for the first look. I'm very excited. For the first look, we're gonna go into the NudeTrals palette. This one actually seems like it might be a little less up my alley than the CoolTrals one, but I feel like this one could also really surprise me. I feel like this could be something very interesting. I could get into this for sure. It looks amazing. I am kind of thinking I want to go into this bottom row. I feel like a lot of people are going to do very warm looks with this, and I am going to be doing that, but I kind of want to go into here. So I'm gonna start with a Rumor, and then I'm gonna deepen it up with Lust. Why is it looking so peachy? That's looking way more peachy than I was thinking. I don't know if I said it, but I'm already wearing an eye primer. I always wear eye primer. That is very peachy. That is not what I was expecting, but it's very pigmented and that is looking really nice. Ga alsjeblieft gewoon ergens liggen. Ooh, it's quite powdery but quite pigmented, but that's looking quite nice. It's a nice neutral shade, but it's not as pinky as I was expecting it to be, so that's interesting. So I don't know, maybe it's my skin tone, but it looks a little different on the eye. Okay, so far so good. We're going into the deeper shade called Lust, and that seems pretty pigmented. I'm starting out more towards the lash line. That's very deep. That's also not exactly what I was expecting from the pan, because in the pan it looks more burgundy and here it pulls more kind of like almost gray purple, very cool tone purple. It doesn't have that much of that red in there, I would say. Like, that is not what I expected at all. Just look at this shade and look what's on my eye. I hope you can kind of see the difference. Well, looking at it like this, it looks more similar. Maybe I'm just going crazy. Maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe the light is hitting it in a bit of a odd way. Let's just build this up a bit. Okay, I feel like this one looks best when built up quite a bit. Blending it in a little to connect it a bit more. But yeah, this purplish shade is definitely more cool toned. And I do love a bit of a purple with warm tones to combine that. Going back with the first brush to blend, and it is pretty easy to do. Sorry about any background noises. It's hot in the Netherlands. Everyone and anything and all the animals and all the kids and everyone is outside. That is a very blendable shadow. Like that went pretty far, but not too far, I think. Pretty cool. Now, what are we gonna do for the shimmer? I think I want to go into this one. And then I'm gonna also use a little bit of Glamorous over here. I'm gonna apply it with my finger. So the first one is gonna be Velvet. This is my first time touching a shimmer. And that is looking really nice. It's feeling very creamy, kind of like putty creamy. Very, very beautiful. Ooh, I like that a lot. That's feeling very interesting. This is really like this kind of gold to purplish shimmer. I really love these types of shimmers. Like this color shift, it always gets me. It's so beautiful. That is really pretty. This look feels kind of festive to me. Okay, let's swatch Glamorous. Also feels very creamy, kind of putty. I hope these are not gonna crease on me. But that is also a gorgeous shimmer. It's really beautiful. Looks a little bit more golden on the eye than I had expected. It has a little bit more of a golden shift. Like you do see it on the finger, but in the pan it's not as apparent. It seems a little bit more like this taupey shade, but it's kind of like a taupe to gold, which I think is really nice. I feel like that's something that I would wear a lot. That's really beautiful. It's a very smoky look, but it's very beautiful. Alright, for the inner corner, I kind of want to try the shade Chic. This one over here. It's an almost white, really light pink, and I do love a matte inner corner. It just brightens your eyes so much. It's such a nice way, and I just want to see if this is pigmented enough. So let's see. It's not like I do this all the time. That's really brightening. Okay, that's beautiful. Don't do this all the time, but I just get really excited about a good pastel inner corner. That's really nice. That's really nice. Let's see what we're gonna do for the lower lash line. I am gonna go into the shade NudeTrals first, and then don't poke it, and then Delicate. I gotta be more careful because I never really poke my nails in my palettes. It doesn't happen a lot, even though I have pretty long nails. But when I do, I get pretty annoyed with myself. Okay, NudeTrals seems to be pretty neutral, but on my eyes, it pulls pretty warm. Like it's a kind of undertone where it could go either way, also depending on your own skin tone. But for me, that's pretty warm. Like not too warm, it's not an orange, but on the warmer side. And then a Delicate. That's nice. I can be pretty precise with this deeper shade. Sometimes I use a deeper shade on the lower lash line. It just feels like it flies everywhere. Also because I've already done my face makeup, I am very happy about that. And then I'm gonna take Delicate as a shadow liner as well. It's not gonna do a whole lot now that I already have so many smoky shadows on, but we're doing it. Should we do another shimmer on the lower lash line? Should we try something else? I feel like I kind of want to go into one lighter shimmer, and maybe I want to go into Radiant over here. I don't know yet exactly what it is, but it seems kind of like it's gonna be a yellow to pinky red shimmer. Let's see how this picks up with a brush, and I'm just gonna place it right over there. Okay, that is very vibrant, but very cool. Like a beautiful shade. That really packs a punch. Alright, let's do some mascara. And this is gonna be the finished look, the finished first look. And I have to say, so far I'm pretty impressed. I feel like the mattes were very blendable, buildable, easy to work with. Even though I used quite deep shades in this look, I had no issues with that. The shimmers look absolutely stunning. Everything was super pigmented. I hope the shimmers are not gonna crease on me. They feel a little bit more like putty, creamy, but we're gonna see. Like, it's hot out. It's later in the night, but it's hot out. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a wear test. Look in the mirror before, like at night, I'm gonna take this all off and see if I have any creasing. But so far, so good. I'm definitely very excited about this NudeTrals palette. Alright, it is time for the Cooltrals. I have been impatiently waiting for this palette to make its way onto my eyes. I am very drawn to these kind of like mauve tones, but we did kind of like a mauve look with the NudeTrals palette, so I'm gonna go into the blues. We're gonna see what we can do with that, and I think I want to keep it a little bit on the lighter side, so I'm gonna go into Intuition first in the crease, and then we're gonna see what happens from there. By the way, this Gravitate shade, I'm kind of gravitating towards that one. That is super shifty. There's blue, there's green, there's purple, there's gold. There's so many shades in there. It's swatched stunningly, so I'm kind of thinking maybe a blue crease with that shade, but we're gonna start out with the blue. Some of these shades, by the time I'm filming this, I have actually swatched everything. Some of these shades feel a little drier, but some of the mattes and some of the shimmers feel super creamy. There's kind of like a difference in texture there, but it's also, I think, about the color. Like, some pigments just perform a little different in an eyeshadow. This is looking really beautiful. By the way, I will zoom you in so you can see what is going on. That is pretty important. So this is looking really beautiful. It's kind of like in between a pastel and a bright, but then with a drop of softness still. And once again, already wearing eye primer. That's looking good so far. I kind of want to do something with this shade Crave as well. This very light, kind of like lilac-y pink. It looks so good. I want to put that in the crease as well. And let's just see how that shows up. Just right over here. It's for sure gonna be a good inner corner shade, but I just want to try this with it as well. And it seems very bright. It seems very pigmented, so that's nice. And I'm also gonna take a little bit of the shade Attract, and I'm gonna put that in the crease as well to kind of connect the two over here. Yeah, that's nice. Just a little bit more definition. And I also need to blend the edges a little bit before I forget. And then, should I just use a little bit of Gravitate? I think I'm gonna, like, I think it's gonna look good. I hope. Like, that is looking really cool. That was just like a dip. It's very creamy. Ooh. Yeah, I think a little bit of a lighter application is more fitting with the look that I'm trying to do, but that's really pretty. Very sparkly. I really like this multicolor sparkle. Like, a lot of shiftiness is going on here. This is one of those very creamy shades. Just blending this a little. And now I think I'm... what should I do? I can either do Reveal, this one, or I can do maybe Slate, which is a little bit more neutral, or maybe Moonlight. I think I'm gonna go for a Slate. This kind of slate gray situation. We're just playing around with the colors. That's really pretty as well. This is a great, like, all over one shadow look kind of shadow. That's really pretty. I hardly ever do one shadow looks. Sometimes I think I'm that person, but honestly, I love doing my makeup for YouTube and for Instagram, especially when it comes to eyeshadow. I think it's really pretty. It made it a little darker than that other shade would have, but that's fine. I'm just gonna take a Reveal and I'm gonna put that in the inner corner. Let's see what that does. It seems really like this shifty shade, like an iridescent shifty bluish shade. That's really pretty. Let's take a little bit of that a little higher. Use it as a little bit of a topper to brighten up slate a little. These blend really easily. I have no issue blending anything so far. I am gonna use the shade Cooltrals on the lower lash line. I can't speak. This is more of a gray. I feel like a fully gray look. It can look a little harsh on me, but I don't mind combining grays with other things. And I want to take a little bit of Moonlight, this shade over here, and I want to put that on the lower lash line. I'm just taking the tiniest bit. It's going a long way. And then I'm gonna take the shade, Hidden over here. It's not a super deep blue, but I'm gonna use that as my shadow liner because I kind of want to keep the look a little airy. So let's see what this does. It's not super deep. And just a bit over here. I feel like it came out very ethereal, especially also with the highlight and blush that I have on. Very soft. I think it's gonna look a little less soft with the mascara. So let's do that and see how this looks. So this is gonna be the finished look with mascara on. I feel like this turned out really beautifully. It's very kind of like ethereal, but it still has some dimension. And I just love these types of blues. I'm honestly very impressed with this formula, but that is what I was expecting. That was what I was thinking. That's why I bought these. Like, I've heard so many people rave about these. I've seen swatches and I just thought it looked so good. I was just waiting for my perfect color story, and these are definitely it. So let's get into my first impression thoughts. I love both my looks. I love this look. I love the look that I did yesterday. There are so many different textures in these palettes. There's a really nice range from deep to light. I can think of so many looks that I want to do with these. They are very inspiring. I don't really have anything bad to say about these so far. I'm really impressed. Of course, I haven't tried all the shades, but they seem to just be very up my alley. I had no issues with them at all. I think I'm really gonna like these, and I'm really gonna use these a lot. Like, these are definitely my kind of palette. So far so good with Cosmic brushes. Let me know if you're gonna pick up these palettes, and then I will see you in my next one. Bye bye!